Investment word problems are very similar to mixture word problems. The major difference is in the value equation. We still have all the amounts added together for a total, and in the value equation we do multiply the percent to the amount invested and the percent to the amount invested, but we generally don't write down the percent of the total because we already multiply that out and they give it to us as the interest in the word problem. Sang invested $48,000, part at 6% and the rest at a high-risk investment at 10%. How much did she invest at each rate to receive $4,000 in interest after 1 year? In order for us to write our amount equation, we need to identify some variables. Let's call this part that's being invested at 6% P, and the rest of it that's being invested at 10% as R. So our amount equation would be P plus R is equal to the $48,000 she's investing. Our second equation will include the value, the percentage. So 6% is the interest earned on part of it, and 10% is the interest earned on the rest of it, and at the end of the year she will have $4,000. We cannot do problems with percent signs, so we're going to multiply everything in this equation by 100. There are two terms on this side, so each term will get multiplied by 100, and one term on this side. Remember, multiplying by 100 clears the percent sign, so the 100 and the percent sign's gone. But over here there was no percent sign, so I'm actually going to multiply by 100. I'll have P plus R is equal to $48,000. And 6P plus 10R is equal to $400,000. Again, we've got two equations with two unknowns. In order to solve this equation, I would like to add the two equations together, but if I do, none of the variables will go away. So I'm going to actually multiply the top equation by -10. I'm choosing the -10 to make the r's go away, and because it's easy to multiply this number by 10. We now have a -4p is equal to a -80,000. Solving for p, we multiply both sides of the equation by -1/4. We get p equals a positive 20,000. And this is $20,000. So if we go back to our first equation, we had P plus R equals $48,000 she invested. We know that she has $20,000 invested, and let's find out what the rest of the money she has invested at the 10%. To solve for R, we would add a -20,000 to both sides of the equation. So now we have that the rest of the money was $28,000. So when you answer a word problem, make it very clear what it is that you're telling me. $20,000 is invested at, P was the one for 6%, and we also have $28,000 invested at 10% interest rate.